This is a true story involving sexual assault and death. The details are disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
We've been reporting on this now for days. The coroner has officially said that the manner of death is still under investigation, but has officially ruled that the cause of death was due to multiple traumatic injuries.
To the latest after the death of an LSU sophomore earlier this month. The details are incredibly disturbing, as we have learned that several people are now charged with raping Madison Brooks after a night of drinking just before she died.
Police say that the LSU sophomore had been abandoned on the side of the road by 3 men and a 17-year-old. Prosecutors say 2 of the men raped the victim while the others watched.
A rideshare driver navigates through the pre-dawn darkness of a quiet subdivision. The roads are empty and silent. In his headlights, a young woman, crumpled on the pavement, barely conscious and dying. The 911 call comes immediately. Paramedics rush her to the hospital, but within hours, she's gone. At first glance, a tragic accident. A young life extinguished in the darkness. But what investigators uncover reveals something far more sinister. A night of alleged sexual assault, a blood alcohol level nearly 4 times the legal limit, and 4 men who left her on that road, men who claim she consented to everything. Her name was Madison Brooks, she was 19 years old, and this is the story of her last 6 hours alive. Welcome to Minds of Murderers. If you're new here, hit subscribe and let us know where you're watching from in the comments. Now, let's begin. Madison Kennedy Brooks was born in Covington, Louisiana, the daughter of John Brooks and Ashley Boward. Raised alongside siblings Aiden, Brady, and Kaylin, she grew up in a close-knit family her grandparents described as sunshine. At St. Scholastica Academy, a private Catholic school in Covington, Madison excelled, honor roll, cheerleading squad, fellowship of Christian athletes, Doves for Life. She wasn't just passing through, she made her mark. In 2021, she set her sights on Louisiana State University, declaring a major in communication. By her sophomore year, Madison had been accepted into the prestigious Manship School of Mass Communication, one of the top journalism programs in the country. Competitive, selective, she earned it. At LSU, Madison joined Alpha Phi sorority, forming bonds her sisters described as family. She went skydiving, loved skiing, traveled when she could. But those who knew her best say what mattered most were weekly family dinners and long phone calls with her mom. By January 2023, Madison was thriving, building a future, making memories, living the college experience so many dream about. She had no idea January 14th would be her last night alive. According to Carver's own statement to investigators, Madison was very unstable on her feet, was not able to keep her balance, and was unable to speak clearly without slurring her words. He knew she was drunk, they all knew. Yet according to arrest affidavits, Kaivon Washington and Desmond Carter asked Madison repeatedly to have sex with them. According to their version, she said yes. She consented. Here's the problem with that claim. When police asked Carver directly whether he believed Madison was too drunk to consent, his response, "I guess." He later told investigators the situation made him feel uncomfortable, that he hated it, but he did nothing to stop it. Everett Lee allegedly stepped out of the vehicle during the assaults but also failed to intervene. 2 men allegedly assaulted Madison in the back of that car. 2 others remained present and did nothing. Then it gets worse. Defense attorneys would later reveal someone in that car recorded video, showing Madison intoxicated, slurring, asking to get out. She says she'll call an Uber and get home on her own, and they let her. At 2:50 a.m., approximately 50 minutes after leaving Reggies, they drop Madison near Pelican Lake Subdivision, a neighborhood she doesn't know, then they drive away. Madison is left standing alone in the darkness, minimal street lights, disoriented, confused. Her blood alcohol content, toxicology reports would later show, was 0.319%. To put that in perspective, 0.08% is the legal limit for driving in Louisiana. Madison's level was nearly 4 times that amount. At that level, medical experts say a person can experience alcohol poisoning, loss of consciousness, inability to make rational decisions or understand danger. Madison wanders from the subdivision toward Burbank Drive. Somehow, she ends up standing in the middle of the dark roadway. At 3 a.m., a rideshare driver rounds a bend. In his headlights he finds Madison. The driver immediately calls 911. He's not impaired, not at fault. He stays, cooperates fully, shaken and horrified. First responders rush Madison to the hospital. Her family races to her side, but the injuries are too severe. Hours later, Madison Kennedy Brooks was pronounced dead. Official cause could be multiple traumatic injuries secondary to motor vehicle versus pedestrian collision. She was 19 years old. January 15, 2023. When the sun rises that Sunday, the East Baton Rouge Sheriff's Office is treating Madison's death as a tragic accident. Wrong place, wrong time. But as investigators piece together the timeline, questions emerge. Why was a 19-year-old LSU student standing in the middle of Burbank Drive at 3 a.m.? Where had she been? Who was she with? Surveillance footage from Reggie's bar changes everything. Investigators watch Madison's condition deteriorate throughout the night, the stumbling, the falling, the clear signs of severe intoxication. Then around 2 a.m., they see her leave with 4 strangers and less than an hour later, she's dead. The autopsy and toxicology reports paint a devastating picture. Blood alcohol content, 0.319% THC present in her system, injuries consistent with sexual assault. This wasn't just a drunk driving accident. This was a crime scene. January 23, 2023, 8 days after Madison's death, all 4 suspects turned themselves in. The news rocks the LSU community. Casen Carver agreed to talk. His statement is revealing and deeply troubling. He admits everything, meeting Madison at Reggies, her leaving with them, getting into his car. He describes her as very unstable on her feet, not able to keep her balance, unable to speak clearly. He admits Washington and Carter asked Madison for sex. According to Carver, she consented. But when asked if Madison was too drunk to consent, his answer, "I guess." Carver says what happened made him uncomfortable, that he hated it, but he did nothing. Everett Lee confirms his presence but provides few details and declines most questions. Kaivon Washington denies everything, denies having sex with Madison, denies seeing his friend with her. When asked for a DNA swab, he requests an attorney and ends the interview. The 17-year-old's statements are sealed due to his juvenile status. Based on evidence, surveillance footage, toxicology reports, medical findings, and Carver's statement, the sheriff's office files charges. Casen Washington and Desmond Carter, third-degree rape. Everett Lee and Casen Carver, principal to third-degree rape because he is present during the alleged assault but not directly participating. Under Louisiana law, third-degree rape occurs when the victim is incapable of resisting or understanding the act due to intoxication, and the offender knew or should have known of the incapacity. With Madison's BAC at 0.319% and Carver's admission that she was unstable and slurring, prosecutors believe they have a case. Bond amounts given is: Casen Carver, $50,000, Everett Lee, $75,000, Casen Washington, $150,000. Within days, Carver and Lee pays bond fee and walk free. Washington remains behind bars. Carter, still a juvenile, is held in detention. For Madison's family, there's no bond, no release, no going home. January 27, 2023, 4 days after the arrests, defense attorneys hold a press conference making a stunning claim: Madison consented. She wasn't as intoxicated as reports suggest, and they have video evidence to prove it. Attorney Ron Haley states that based on evidence we're able to view today that one of our clients had on his cloud, she was not in a drunken stupor. I can sit here firmly and say that a rape did not occur that evening. Joe Long, representing Casen Carver, questions the blood alcohol test, suggesting surveillance video undermines the prosecution's narrative. They promise the car video will exonerate their clients completely. But when that video is finally reviewed in court, it doesn't go as planned.
Sorry that I said to you that bad. Get out. I will Uber on my own.
At a bond hearing, 19th Judicial District Judge Brad Myers watched the footage, and what he saw disturbed him deeply. The judge describes the suspects as callously laughing at Madison, a drunk 19-year-old woman, clearly impaired. Combined with Reggie's surveillance showing Madison falling and struggling to stand, Judge Myers reaches an unequivocal conclusion. The evidence to me is clear: a crime occurred that night. The video meant to save them reinforces the charges against them, and those charges are about to escalate. February 22, 2023. A grand jury upgrades Desmond Carter's charges from third-degree to first-degree rape. He'll be tried as an adult. If convicted, he'll be sentenced to life in prison without parole. But the case takes a darker turn when more allegations against Kaivon Washington surface. Allegation number 2, May 2020, a young woman comes forward claiming Washington forced himself on her at a pool party in Walker, Louisiana. According to her statement, he followed her into a room, attacked her, and covered her mouth to silence her. She reported it in 2021, but no charges were filed at the time. With Madison's case in headlines, investigators re-examine it. Washington is charged with first-degree rape. Allegation number 3, October 2022. Another victim emerges. A third alleged rape in the same area of Baton Rouge where Madison was killed. The victim reported the assault on January 25, 2023, the day after Washington's arrest in Madison's case. Casen Washington now faces 3 separate rape cases. Meanwhile, the defense pursues another strategy, introducing evidence of Madison's prior sexual history. Specifically, they claim she had consensual rough sex with another man the day before she died. The defense argues this could explain her injuries and the lack of DNA evidence from the suspects. Under Louisiana law, a victim's sexual history is generally inadmissible in rape trials. It's irrelevant, prejudicial, and victim-blaming. March 2024, the trial judge rules against the defense. Madison's sexual history cannot be used. The defense appeals all the way to the Louisiana Supreme Court. October 2025, the Supreme Court issues a unanimous decision. The lower court's ruling stands. The justices write, the fundamental right to present a defense does not require the trial court to admit irrelevant evidence. Madison's past cannot be weaponized against her. But the prosecution faces its own significant challenge. No DNA from any of the 4 suspects was found inside Madison Brooks. How do you prove rape without DNA evidence? District Attorney Hilla Moore acknowledges the burden. We have the burden of proof. He is presumed innocent. We believe our case. We believe that he committed this offense. The case will rely on witness statements, Madison's condition, the circumstances, and that video evidence. And so, the waiting begins. In Madison's wake, LSU and Louisiana authorities take action against Reggie's bar. The Louisiana Office of Alcohol and Tobacco Control issues an emergency suspension of the bar's liquor license, citing potential threat to public safety. LSU President William Tate is blunt. All but one of the suspects involved in this horrific scenario were underage, yet were able to consume alcohol at a local bar. Enough is enough. Reggie's bar has a troubled history, prior incidents including a 2016 stabbing, an alleged rape in the parking lot, and a man pointing a loaded gun at patrons. The pattern finally catches up. The Madison Brooks Scholarship Fund is established to support students at the LSU Manship School of Mass Communication, the program Madison had just been accepted into. Her dreams of storytelling live on through other students. Along Burbank Drive where she died, a roadside memorial grows with flowers, candles, and handwritten notes. Her grandfather, Kurt LeBlanc, speaks for the family. She was pure joy and light. We will miss her terribly. Even in death, Madison gave life, her heart and kidneys were donated, saving others. December 1, 2025, Casen Carver's trial is set to begin. He'll be the first to face a jury on charges of first-degree rape, third-degree rape, and video voyeurism. Kaivon Washington awaits trial on Madison's case plus 2 other rape allegations from separate victims. Desmond Carter awaits trial on first-degree rape charges. If convicted, life sentence without parole. Everett Lee's status remains unclear as proceedings continue. The rideshare driver who struck Madison was never charged. He wasn't impaired, stayed at the scene, and cooperated fully. He's blameless, yet must live with what happened that night. The unanswered questions remains: will there ever be full accountability? Can prosecutors prove rape beyond reasonable doubt without DNA evidence? Will a jury believe Madison was incapable of consent, or will the defense narrative prevail? More than 2 years after Madison's death, there have been no convictions, no justice, just waiting. Madison Brooks should be 22 years old today. She should have graduated from Manship School of Mass Communication. She should be starting her career, telling the stories that matter, making the difference she always wanted to make, but instead, her family visits her grave. This case forces us to confront uncomfortable truths about consent, bystander intervention, and the responsibility we all have to protect the vulnerable. 4 men met Madison Brooks on January 14, 2023. She was a stranger to them, but less than 6 hours later, she was dead. Whether justice will truly be served remains to be seen. But one thing is absolutely certain: Madison deserved better. She deserved to make it home safely. She deserved to live. Her legacy isn't just a scholarship fund or policy changes. It's the reminder that behind every true crime story is a real person, a daughter, a sister, a friend. Someone whose life mattered. Madison Kennedy Brooks mattered, and her story must be told. If this case resonated with you, join our community by subscribing and hitting the notification bell. Share your thoughts respectfully in the comments below. Until next time, stay safe.